Hello friends, in this video we are going to learn what is the responsibility of a tester, whether it is manual tester or an automation tester, what exactly is the responsibilities and how the environment permissions play a crucial role. What happens or when you transition your environment from dev SST to pre-prod and OAT, when do you take the deployables to UAT, then finally you take it to production, which is live. All this we'll cover in this video. And how do you test the requirements from ETL mapping sheet? So in the ETL mapping sheet, how do you read your source to target mapping, then transformation rules, join conditions, data types and constraints, and filters and business rules like your where conditions and others. Then tasks and responsibility of manual testers, such as environment's readiness check, whether it is SST, pre-prod, OAT or UAT. As a tester, what is your responsibility? For the responsibility of a tester to observe the logs and warnings and alerts, whether those mechanisms are working fine or not. So we are going to cover all those, okay, in the next slides. Also we will cover what all test types covers in which environments. You may not get the identical of this in your project, but you get a gist of it. You should be aware of that, how much is covered and what aspects of the ETL data pipeline is covered in which environment. Sometimes you'll be covering more or less, more the better, but there should not be too much of redundant effort. There should not be too much of wasted effort where we should not be testing certain things in certain environments, but we are doing that. So that aspects we are going to cover in this video. Okay. Then we'll see what all you have to collect as a test completion report. Then we'll see how to access our live webinar and Q&A section every month. When do we conduct? So you can register in the description. There is a link in the description. Go and register there, and we'll let you know when the live webinar and Q&A session happens. You can join there and listen to the best practices in the industry happening, as well as you can ask your testing challenges and questions such as automation challenges or any other data streaming challenges, so on and so forth. Tasks or responsibility of a manual tester. What all things a manual tester should do? Environment readiness check, whether it is system testing environment or a pre-prod environment. Make sure you have access to source, target and logs. Logs can be your elk stack, which is having Kibana. Okay. And ensure test data is loaded or mock data is available before you starting the testing of the data pipeline. Make sure you have made it ready, the test data as well as the mock data. Mock data is used for your boundary condition mocking or other data mocking or simply API mocking. Check basic connectivity to databases, API servers and auth servers. So before you start testing, make sure independently that these API servers, databases are working. Like you can check API servers connectivity via Swagger document, auth server connectivity via Swagger, databases via your SQL developer or dbeaver or data grip, which we have already covered in the earlier video. Have a look at it. So these are pretty much task and responsibility of a manual tester. Also automation tester, but mostly for manual testing. Automation testing, everything happens automatically behind the scene, or you trigger, or you click a button, everything happens. But the manual tester, they have to make sure they have all these connectivities and readiness checks. Okay. Next one is continuation of tasks and responsibility of manual testers. Basic job monitoring of pre-prod and OIT. Observe that logs and warnings are working correctly. Ensure rejected records are discoverable. If the records are rejected, as a tester, you must find out from the logs or in the DLQs somewhere. Otherwise, how to test? So, when the developer is saying under these conditions, this record will get rejected. So, in the pipeline, that record will not be processed. It doesn't get through the pipeline. But you have to test that. Somewhere you have to see that, okay, this record was there in the start of the pipeline, and in the log you discover that it was rejected. And check if alerts mechanisms are working. Example, if there were some severe alerts due to some reason, some kind of critical data or business data which ends up in alerts, there should be a mechanism to alert the support team or production team or business team. So as a tester, you have to make sure that alert mechanism works. So that covers pretty much everything, task and responsibility of a manual tester. Here we covered some aspects, and in this page we covered some aspects. Now let's look at testing types versus environments. So which environment covers what kind of tests? So we have dev, SST, pre-prod, OAT, UAT, and production, which is live. OAT, I have already told you earlier that it's operational acceptance testing. UAT is user acceptance testing environment. Pre-prod is like production. SST is system testing environment. Dev is for developers, where developers put their code and do their testing before it comes to the QA team. Now look at this dev environment. What all things it is officially covering? Transformation testing and negative testing. So developers, they don't do this smoke testing, data count validation, incremental load testing, primary key dedupes, performance testing, monitoring, UAT or business validation, or logging and alert make testing. They don't do. They make sure they just pick the ETL mapping sheet and they focus on the transformation logic and various negative testing and boundary conditions. Okay. And when it comes to SST, then we do smoke testing. We means as a testing team, whether I am a manual tester or automation tester. As a tester, my responsibility in SST is to smoke testing, data count validation, transformation logic testing, data type and format, negative testing, incremental load testing, and primary key and dedupes testing. And we don't do is this. We don't do this in SST, because this SST environment is not designed for handling more load. So performance testing you cannot do there, and it is not, of course, designed for UAT and logging and alert mechanism. So let's go to the pre-prod now. So pre-prod, you see, we are checking the smoke testing, data count validation testing, and transformation logic testing. Then we do performance testing, schedule and monitoring testing, and logging and alert. Okay. Similarly, OAT, which is operational acceptance testing, see, we don't do there data count validation, we don't do here, and we don't do transformation testing, but rest of the other things we do except UAT. And UAT is specially designed for user acceptance testing, hence we do a bit of smoke testing there. Then V means this is done by business users, not the testing team as such, because the business users, they have to validate the system is working as expected from a business point of view. So this is separate environment maintained here. Okay. And in production, you must be wondering, oh well, the system has gone to production, why the testing is required? But it's not so. Still, a lightweight smoke testing is performed there with synthetic data. Kind of data is simulated and cleared up later. Then count is validated, transformation logic is tested, then scheduling is monitoring tested, make sure everything works, and user point of view or business point of view, everything is fine, that is also tested and validated, and logging and alert mechanism is tested. Okay, so I leave the mapping, this mapping table with this in the description below. Go to the description and click the link, and maybe there may be a couple of questionnaires you have to answer before downloading this. Okay, just click the link and download this. There will be not only this table, there will be various things, slides, artifacts attached to every video, which you can freely download and use it. Next one is test completion reports. This is the last slide. As a manual tester, you must produce a report after your testing is complete. That will have project summary and testing scope. You make sure you capture the project name and which environment it was tested and what all tools was used. Okay. So on tools, ETL tools, there is a separate video. Go to the channel and see top 10 tools which manual testers or automation testers should or must know. Test scope based on ETL mapping sheet, which source systems and which target systems or entities were tested as part of the test completion, and what all job names and flows were tested. Thank you very much for your patience. If you like the video, please give a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Every month 18th, we conduct free live webinars. You can register yourself. The link is in the description and join. It's at 9:30 India time, 5 p.m. UK time, 11 a.m. USA time. Due to any reason, if you miss the webinars, you can always request for the recorded session. You might have already got your questions answered in one of our webinars.